It's so strange to think about starting something new. This series that I've been working on, the Echo series, this trilogy, has really been more than just a series for me. It was my foundation as an author. I have written a couple books before it, but none of them that I really felt were good enough. And I mean, they kind of weren't. This was the first story that I really believed in and I wanted to get behind and I really wanted to push for. And in a lot of ways, it taught me how to write. It taught me how to edit. It taught me how to format. It taught me how to think about writing as a real option as a profession. I learned how to go through all the steps of publication on this trilogy. I learned how to become an indie author with this trilogy. And in a lot of ways, it taught me how to persevere through an enormous project, because writing a book really is an enormous project, even one. So getting through an entire series, 3 of them, is something that I'm really proud of. But leaving it behind almost feels like saying goodbye to a part of myself, like saying goodbye to who I was as an emerging author, as like a debut author, and that can be really scary. It is really scary for me. At the same time, I really get to re-explore what it means to be an author, to be a creator, to imagine a story and follow it from inception again. And as scary as that is, it comes with a lot of excitement. Somewhere along the way, I feel like writing became about the actual production of the book. It became about getting the final version in my hands and wrapping up this project that I have told the world that I'm working on. And it kind of stripped the joy out of it. Just the mundane day-to-day, I have to get this word count in, I have to meet these deadlines in order to finish publication. Especially when I realized I was writing a trilogy. Like from that moment on, it just became about getting the 3rd book out. And now I've finished that draft and next week it's going off to my professional editor. And I find myself in this new territory where I'm actually gonna be able to move on to an entirely new project. And I have found myself in this space where I feel like I almost have forgotten what it's like to create from the spark of an idea. So I'm really in this avenue where I'm trying to embrace that and figure out how to take these little sparks of ideas and fan the flames until it gives me enough passion, at least the amount of passion that I know I'm gonna need to churn out a draft that is like 90,000 to 150,000 words. Because doing that takes a lot of love for what you're working on. You can't just decide to sit down and write something that you're not that excited about, because if you do that, it's gonna be like pulling teeth. It's gonna be horrible. So I'm really trying to find the next project that I feel like is gonna light me up for the next 6 months to a year, because that's my goal. Like I wanna finish publishing this trilogy, and then I want to finish another manuscript this year and get that out. And if that is what I want to do, I have to find something that I'm excited enough about to devote that much energy into. I have a few ideas swirling around. There are about 3 different ones that I am interested in working on. There's a standalone fantasy, maybe a duology. I really have like an interest in writing a werewolf romance series. And then I also have this idea for a rom-com series set on the island, because living out here has been so different. And when I first moved here, I was looking for those books and I couldn't find them. So if you have any recommendations, drop it below for me. But yeah, so I'm just tinkering with some ideas. I'm gonna spend the next month while my manuscript is with my editor, really fleshing these out, working on plot points, trying to figure out my characters that I have just the infancies of imagination about, and figure out which one is most intriguing for me, so that I can focus on them for the next 6 months. Most of the time, stories come to me in the form of like one scene. Like I'll have one big idea for a scene that's gonna pop out. and then I build the entire story around that. So that essentially means I'm going to be spending a lot of time daydreaming, which I'm excited about because I really enjoy that process. I mean, writers are all just daydreamers anyways, so I'm going to be digging into that really base level of creativity. The other option is to maybe balance multiple projects at once, which is something I've never done. That would be maybe taking on 2 different series at the same time and laying them on top of one another. Whether or not I get to that is something I haven't yet decided, but we will see how the next few weeks go and see what projects I'm drawn to. My biggest fear at this point is really kind of choosing the wrong path at this junction. I don't want to waste any more time on a project that is going to take me in a direction that I'm not going to be excited about down the road. I already spent like 2 years on kind of like a writing hiatus just because I got burnt out so much. And I don't want to waste any more time pushing towards another project that I feel like is going to drain me. I think that's half of the battle of being an author in the first place, or being a creative of any kind, is making sure that what you are creating you're excited about and maintaining the energy to move forward. I kind of live in fear of stalling out again. So my big goal this year is to work on that balance. But I also know that self-doubt is the quickest way to get myself into writer's block. So moving forward, I'm just literally gonna follow my instincts, and I'm gonna create videos on this channel that I feel like creating. I'm going to write short stories in these worlds that I'm fleshing out. I'm going to maybe write little scenes. I'm gonna take character quizzes. I'm gonna do Enneagram charts. I'm gonna do everything that I'm just kind of drawn to help foster the creativity and make it feel fun again. Speaking of goals this year, one of my biggest ones is rest in general. It's finding the balance between work and production and rest and relaxation. Here in Seattle, we've entered what people call the dark days, which is essentially that time of year where the sun sets at 4 p.m. and vitamin D deficiencies become a real problem. So it's gonna be interesting to move through that and figure out how my energy flows. But also that is a really good reminder to live cyclically, which is something that I'm really interested in this year. I wanna make sure that I take the time to rest. I work when I work and when I have energy. And then the other times I slow down and I replenish myself. I don't create and consume out of balance. Ultimately, I write because I love to do it. Like, I love to tell stories, and I love to get into the heads of characters and flesh out themes and really reflect something about myself in the art that I create. And I really want to honor that right now. And the way to do that is to slow down. I don't want to write because I feel pressured to. I became an artist because I was okay with the risk that came from creating a life based on passion. Ultimately, that means I want to create something meaningful for me personally. And that's what I'm going to do this year. And I'm going to use this channel as a way to share that process as authentically as possible. If you're a writer or a reader or a creative just starting something new in general, I hope that this video resonated with you and maybe gives you a little bit of insight into my approach to this phase. And I hope maybe you identify with it and it has helped you. If it has, do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything new that I will be putting out. I'm gonna take you guys along with the journey as I move through these phases in the next steps of producing my 3rd book and moving on to something entirely new. If that's something you're interested in, I will see you around. Bye.